The next topic will be the big debate on accreditation. Which system is right for you? And I know, as the Medical Tourism Association has traveled to, many different countries and talked to thousands of different hospitals and clinics, I think one of the biggest topics internationally is on accreditation. There are a lot of hospitals and clinics that, really want to know what are the different accreditation systems out there. What is the value of different accreditation systems? Some even ask, do we need to be accredited? So, it's very important to know how to determine whether an accreditation scheme is right for you and what international accreditation means and how it can actually help in the improvement of quality, transparency, and patient safety. And I think one of the most important things is that accreditation should be more than a marketing tool.
The nitty-gritty. You wish to attract patients to your hospital, you want to give a good service, you want to have a good reputation, presumably, locally, nationally, internationally. But how do you translate that hard work into market advantage? Now, I'm doing this rather backwards because I'm from Trent, one of the accreditation groups in the United Kingdom, and we were around long before medical tourism was, well, I won't say thought of, but certainly before it became anything of a force to be recognised. But nevertheless, things change in life and everything has to be factored in. So there we go, we are. You want to do it well. How do those prospective patients find out if your hospital and its staff are any good at all? This is very basic, isn't it? I mean, basically, how do people work out if a Mercedes-Benz is a better buy than, say, a Ford? Perhaps it's not. But the image is good, is it not, of the Mercedes-Benz? The Ford is pretty good as well. I've had both. I drive a Mercedes. Okay. What do patients want and what do they need to hear and see? And so what advice and evidence can the patients access in order to see whether or not things happen that they say happen on the box, on the tin? And is that evidence or advice impartial? Okay, people pick up advice from word of mouth. So you talk to your next door neighbour over a coffee, or worse still, over 25 pints of beer, and you take their opinion on where to get your liposuction. With 25 pints of beer, they probably need liposuction. Advertising, intermediaries, medical travel agents, lots of intermediaries. Official charts, for example, I mentioned yesterday the mandatory government MRSA and Clostridium difficile report in the UK and in California, USA. That's an uncommon phenomenon in virtually anywhere else in the world. Individual surgeons' mortality rate. These are all little bits of information. But fundamentally, there's really only voluntary independent accreditation that offers some sort of holistic external viewpoint which will establish if indeed what happens is what it says on the lid. Why consider accreditation for that? Okay, well, accreditation is all about the early recognition and minimisation of risk. We all talk about quality, etc. Fundamentally, you'll have good quality if you manage to recognise and control the risk. What risks? Well, there's risks to life and well-being. People can die. People can end up having half their abdomen carved off. Remember, the very best surgeon in the world will have their work wrecked by a vancomycin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, which gets into the wound. There's a risk to money. We're in medical tourism here. Money is very, very vital. It's very important. And you can lose it if things go wrong. And to reputation and to image. Who are the risks to? Well, the risks are certainly there for the patient, to the staff, the hospital, the clinic, and to other interested parties. And there's a list there, quite a long list. Down at the bottom you'll see medical tourism facilitators. I know I'm in a part of the world where there are said to be more lawyers than the rest of the world put together. And is that true? Yes or no? I believe it to be true, and that means there'll be a lot of discussion about where risk and hence where blame lies. Legal dimensions aside, there's a fundamental axiom in medicine, and we must never get away from this. None of us can, even the extended range and family of healthcare workers, that the health of my patient will be my first consideration. That's the Declaration of Geneva, which is the modern redeclaration of the Hippocratic Oath. So is it ever ethical or reasonable for doctors and healthcare providers to ignore any aspect of a patient's care, including pre- and post-travel in the context that we're talking about? Or, for example, the interest of an organ or a tissue donor?